Creep on in, on in, on in. 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 Creep on in, on in, on in.
More than 200 African migrants have scaled the border fence into the Spanish enclave of Melilla. It's the biggest assault on the border in more than 8 years. The new arrivals, many from Cameroon and Guinea, headed towards the Migrant Reception Centre, celebrating touching European soil. The latest incursion at Melilla brings the number of migrants who've successfully scaled the fence to almost 600 so far this year.
The Africans are coming. The Africans are coming. They might be in the basement. Do you smell fufu cooking? Do you hear mushmouth tether babble from the pipes down below? Guys, let me get some black fists in the chat if you can hear me loud, crisp, and clear, and we'll get this party started. There have been over 70 African migrants found in illegal dwellings in basements in New York City, and we're here to talk about it. The next time one of these tethers tells you, oh, you're just jealous, we're coming to take over your jobs, and you niggas are so lazy and we are so successful, remind them they live in like Anne Frank, hiding in the basements of New York City, y'all. Let's go. Let's go. Hit the like button on the way in, hit the Cash App or the PayPal. If you appreciate the content, let's go ahead and get on with it. These motherfuckers is hiding in the basements. They're dwelling in the cellars like little cockroaches, y'all. Little cockroaches.
New information now after dozens of migrants were found living in a Queens basement.
And tonight we're getting a look inside the cramped living conditions with mattresses stacked from wall to wall, all happening inside a furniture store in Richmond Hill. CBS 2's Jennifer Bisram there live right now. She spoke with the owner. Jennifer.
Maurice
And yes, the owner is a mushmouth tether himself. A African man who owns a furniture store in Queens, New York said, you know what? How can I make some money and help my feather tether? Let me put a bunch of bunk beds in the basement, y'all. Let me put a whole bunch of bunk beds in the basement and have these niggas pay me to live in the basement. I mean, they're used to living in shanty towns anyways. They're used to living in floating shanty towns anyways. I guess this is still an upgrade, huh?
Officials say over 70 migrants were living in the basement of a furniture store here in Richmond Hill, Queens, when they came to do an inspection. We did talk with the owner of that furniture store who was helping these migrants, and he says he was doing it because they had nowhere else to go. But city officials say all of those migrants were living there in unsafe conditions. Where did you sleep last night?
Last night, I sleep in the subway.
Over 70 migrants living in illegally converted sleeping quarters inside of a furniture store building in Queens. Cell phone video obtained by CBS 2 shows the migrants from Africa before the sweep in the cellar, at times sharing a meal.
Sometimes 10 days, 5 days, no shower, nothing.
Damn, sometimes 10 days, 5 days, no shower, no nothing. Y'all some stanky ass Africans. Good Lord.
Very difficult.
Ibu Sar provided the space, cots, and at times food. He says some migrants would give him up to $300 a month.
Up to $300 a month? Was he really doing it out of the kindness of his own heart, or was he trying to make a profit? He speaks the same language. Culturally, they have similarities. They're all Africans after all. Y'all, hold on. Let's do some quick math. Let's do some quick math real quick. They said over 70. For devil's advocate sake, let's just say 70 even, right? 70 times 300 is $21,000 a month. Mans was making $21,000 a month putting these mush mouth Africans in the basement, y'all. Come on. Numbers don't lie. They said over 70. They said they mopeds and illegal unregistered bikes was in the back and everything. $21,000 a month. But I bet you he's going to give some sob story about how, he just did it because he wanted to help the people.
He says they came to him for help after their 30-day shelter stay expired.
I've talked to landlords, people who are saying that these buildings is for the city. And the city is saying that they don't have no place for these people.
This nigga doing some crocodile tears like a motherfucker. Sir, you're making $21,000 a month on this racket. Don't you? He said, shit, I must do some acting now. I must do my best Grammy award-winning nomination performance. Yeah. This motherfucker is crying his little heart out because he know he been making money. And he got to make it seem like, oh, he just wanted to do his part and help the migrant crisis. Sir, I'm not sure if you're aware, but
I wonder if you know that I know he's lying right now.
Come on.
An inspection was done Monday after this neighbor made a complaint about people illegally living at the Liberty Avenue two-story mixed-use building and dozens of e-bikes improperly stored.
I don't know what's going on back there.
This is a video showing investigators with the FDNY and Department of Buildings going into the first floor of the store, behind the furniture where there were more migrants and beds. And according to officials, little to no plumbing and ventilation. A vacate order was since issued.
So you have to get rid of all the beds.
The owner insisting the living quarters was safe and migrants had access to 2 bathrooms and 2 exits.
There is no cooking, okay? We'll bring food, no cooking here.
The mayor responding Tuesday.
We have an obligation with DOB, FDNY, and all of our services to respond and take necessary action. That's what was done last night, and we're still looking at exactly what took place.
I'm so proud of these guys. That's why it broke my heart. I'm proud of them. They're all hardworking people.
Oh my God, this bullshit. They are all scammer degenerates. What are you talking about? They came illegally because they didn't want to go through the legal process. I wonder why. And now you're going to say they're hardworking people? Yeah, because they was paying you $300 a month. They paid their rent on time, huh? They're hardworking people. Get some cockroaches.
And the Department of Buildings says 2 violations were given to the building owner, who is not the owner of that furniture store. It's still unclear what will happen to the owner of that furniture store. And it's still unclear where all of those migrants will go this evening. You heard we talked with a few of them who say they slept on the subway. They went to a few shelters and they were all filled up. So that is still unclear at this hour. We are live in Richmond Hill, Queens. Jennifer Bisram, CBS 2 News.
All right, Jennifer, thank you.
Tonight, dozens of migrants found living in the basement of a store. Sound familiar? Well, we reported a similar story last night in Queens, and now the same thing in the Bronx. And it is the same guy who is housing the migrants. The city says it's illegal.
No, so the same dude who was giving us crocodile tears, who had the illegal migrant shelter in Queens, 75, he's running the same racket in the Bronx? Oh my God, these scamming ass Africans.
Eyewitness News reporter Jim Dolan on where things stand tonight.
They are moving all they have in the world again. Dozens of migrants from West Africa paid $2,400 deposits. And
oh, he really scamming now. In the last location, they were paying $300 a month. This location, they were paying $2,400 deposits. Oh my God, them scamming ass Africans, they'll scam their own people. Look at this. Why do we act surprised when they scam us when this is how they do their own people? $2,400 deposit for what? To sleep in a tiny furniture shop? In a borough?
Where things stand tonight.
They are moving all they have in the world again. Dozens of migrants from West Africa paid $2,400 deposits and $300 a month to stay in a tiny retail space in squalid, dangerous, and illegal conditions. This man translated for one of the migrants.
He said the place is not good because the bathroom is outside. So anybody going to the bathroom, like you say, and then you're gonna go smell, and then whatever they use over there. What? So the bathroom, it's not, the condition is not good.
Inside there were 45
$2,400 deposit and then $300 a month, and the bathroom's outside, and it's prison conditions, y'all stacked on bunk beds. Damn, these motherfuckers be scheming. And when they get caught in the scheme, they just get a couple violations, a couple citations. I mean, I don't know if he had to give refunds back. I doubt it.
Beds in the small, poorly ventilated space, and police say they were charging electric bikes and scooters inside. But the men paid their rent and had no idea they could be kicked out because the space was being used illegally.
He don't know about the law, so the only thing he know, he have place to live because he's cold outside. You don't have no choice. You're going to take it.
The owner of this space, who is taking rent here and taking substantial deposits here, owns another space in Queens that was also housing West African men.
Damn, this mother... Guys, let's just assume, for simple math's sake, he has 70 migrants at each location. That totals 140 migrants. These scamming ass Africans. Hold on, y'all. I'm gonna bring up a whiteboard. This shit is crazy. I gotta bring up the whiteboard on his ass. This is nuts. Oh my God. Y'all, let's do some quick maths. Let's do some quick math, shall we? 140 migrants, 2 locations, right? 2 locations with 140 migrants. Good Lord, I'm in the wrong business. I'm in the wrong business, y'all. I need to stop talking shit about these tethers and start housing them. 140 times 2,400, because although they were paying $300 a month, they each had to put down a $2,400 deposit. Do you know what that equals, y'all? That equals $336,000. Yeah, that seems like a large number. Let me double check my math. I mean, 140 people, each paying a $2,400 deposit. Yeah, that's $336,000 just for the one-time deposit fee. Then if we do the 140 times 300, God damn it, he was then getting $42K a month. Oh Lord, I'm in the wrong business. So he gets over $250,000 upfront in deposits, and then ongoing monthly, he gets $42,000. Oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord. He needs to be deported. Damn. I wonder how he migrated to the US. Was it legally? Was it illegally? Mark Jones says he was in business for 2 to 3 months, so we can times these numbers by 2 to 3. If we times them by 3, oh Lord, it might be over a milli. Guys, let's cast your votes. Right, over a milli or under a milli. I'm gonna calculate it right now. Put over a milli or under a milli. Let's just go ahead and do the 42,000 times the 3 months plus the 336,000. Just under half a milli, $462,000, y'all. This man needs to be deported. This man needs to be doing Fed time. What is going on? Slaps on the wrists. And he is helping keep this migrant crisis alive. If these migrants didn't have these illegal shelters to go to, then maybe they wouldn't be coming here en masse.
Issued there yesterday, and the owner spoke with Eyewitness News, saying he was just trying to help.
The guys will be sleeping on the streets for days. So when they started coming to me, telling me their stories, I started helping them.
In the Queen space last night, there were 40 beds and 74 men with 2 bathrooms. Tonight, the men kicked out of this Bronx shelter stood on the streets, not sure what they would do next.
They kick them out, so they don't have no place to sleep. I'm wondering if the police is gonna leave them like that, or they're gonna take them to their shelter. That's what I just want to know.
Late tonight, some of the residents did board a bus that would take them to a legal shelter. The owner now faces zoning law violations.
Zoning law violations? He need to be facing criminal charges, y'all. Come on, zoning law violations? And the numbers keep getting bigger. Every time we hear a new news story cover a new news station cover this, the numbers, now they're saying it's over 80. Now they're saying one location is over 80, y'all. This is wild. I'm sorry, Tethers. I'm sorry I ever spoke ill about you Africans. I've got a closet here, and I will let 5 of you live in the closet. I need a $3,000 deposit each and $400 a month. And you can only come and sleep between the hours of 1 p.m. and 2:30 p.m. 1.5 hours.
The man is killing us, man. Bless the bomb up. Drop the bomb, man.
Tight quarters in the basement of a furniture store in South Richmond Hill, Queens. Cell phone video shows beds and migrants, all of them from Africa, squeezed into this room, 2 to a bed. Migrants sleeping in shifts, only 2 bathrooms. Ibu Sarr runs the furniture store upstairs and says he's the man behind all of this.
When they started coming to me, telling me their stories, I started helping them. I didn't want to do it, you know. I thought about it twice.
Once the city started enforcing a 30-day limit for single migrant adults staying at city-run shelters, Sarr says the men were forced to sleep on the streets. And why was this better than a shelter?
Because here you don't have problem to go for your work like that. In the shelter, sometimes every month you go back to Manhattan to write your name, and he send you another place.
Sarr says the basement shelter had rules, no cooking on site.
2 in the top, 2 in the bottom, queen bunk beds.
He says he didn't charge the men rent, but he collected whatever they could come up with each month.
It broke my heart. I'm proud of them. They're all hard-working people.
But it didn't take long for the next-door neighbor to notice what was going on. She asked that we not show her face on camera.
One morning, I came out here to go to work. I see about 20 e-bikes, and I got pictures of all.
The neighbor believes this unsanctioned migrant shelter was running for at least 2 months. She called 311 to report.
Hold on, y'all. I had to go grab something. I think I just came in on some lying. What happened? What I
Sarr says the basement shelter had rules, no cooking on site.
Yeah, they had rules,
top,
no
2 in the
cooking.
bottom, queen bunk.
Even though I seen you niggas eating some fresh food.
He says he didn't charge the men rent, but he collected whatever they could come up with each.
This nigga lying. He was charging $2,400 in deposit plus $300 rent.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my God. Stop fucking lying.
Damn, I knew I felt like there was some crusty, mush-mouthed tether line going on.
Month.
It broke my heart. I'm proud of them. They're all hard-working people.
But it didn't
they're hard working. They gave you about $500,000.
take long for the next-door neighbor to notice what was going on. She asked that we not show her face on camera.
One morning, I came out here to go to work. I see about 20
Auntie dropped a
e-bikes,
dime.
and I got pictures of all.
The neighbor believes this unsanctioned migrant shelter was running for at least 2 months. She called 311 to report what she was seeing.
I just couldn't do it no more. All night long, people running in and out that building, that door slammed. I have not got a wink of sleep.
DOB inspectors discovered that migrants were also sleeping in the furniture store. They said the basement had no natural light and no ventilation.
Ew, are you telling me some of them nasty-ass Africans were sleeping on some of the furniture that was for sale? So when you go into this furniture shop in Queens, do you know that you might be spending hundreds on something that a African sleeps on nightly? Oh, Lord.
After noticing the severe overcrowding and dangerous fire trap conditions, the city ordered everyone out.
Where did you sleep last night?
In the subway. Yeah.
So you didn't get any sleep. It's very hard to sleep.
Yeah, you see.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the...
Come on, y'all. This is crazy. Next time an African wants to tell you how they're so superior and we're jealous because they're so hardworking. Nah, y'all coming over here to live like little cockroaches in a basement somewhere, riding around on a stolen moped that's not registered, doing Uber Eats orders. Stop the cap.
Shocking discovery in Queens. Dozens of migrants found living in the basement of a furniture store.
Very concerning here. It comes as Mayor Eric Adams issues some choice words for these migrants, bad-acting migrants, taking advantage of New York City's hospitality. Fox 5's Robert Moses is in South Richmond Hill with the very latest. Robert, what's going on?
Dan and Tashani, as you alluded to, it appears as though this store was housing far more than furniture. It was housing dozens and dozens of humans, so many, in fact, that they had to sleep in shifts. The mayor says the city moved quickly to address the issue.
Damn, he said they had to sleep in shifts, y'all. They had to sleep in shifts. 2,400 for deposit, 300 a month for rent. Ran this operation for 2 to 3 months, 2 different locations, over 140 migrants housed. Where's the money? I just want to know, where is the money, y'all? Where is the money? Mm-mm-mm. The Jewish folks got tunnels, and the African folks is out there in basements. All right.
Patience, though, for the problems that have arrived at the city's doorstep is wearing thin.
They didn't give due process to the person that they shot or punched or killed.
Mayor Eric Adams reiterated his belief that migrants who are suspected of committing serious crimes should be deported.
There's some people that feels that they should be able to remain here, keep doing their actions until they eventually convicted. I don't subscribe to that theory.
The mayor says he thinks the city should communicate with immigration and customs enforcement, but because New York is a sanctuary city, it does not. The mayor spoke shortly after news broke that dozens of migrants have been living in this furniture store on Liberty Avenue in South Richmond Hill, Queens. City officials issued a vacate order for the building after neighbors complained.
I see bikes in the back. That's when I got alarmed.
As you can see, we're just giving out some jackets to the guys.
Ibu Sar, the owner of the
Auntie is telling. That's right. 1-800 we call an ICE. We ain't dealing with this shit no more. No.
Furniture business shared this video of what the living conditions inside looked like. He is himself a West African immigrant, like many of the 74 men he says he was housing. He says he was simply trying to help them
get on their feet. So that was the intention. They're all working. I'm proud of them.
City officials responded to the building shortly before President Joe Biden met with the 4 top congressional leaders at the White House. House Speaker Mike Johnson called on the president to address the ever-escalating border crisis.
The first priority of the country is our border and making sure it's secure. I believe the president can take executive authority right now today to change that.
And the city is reportedly sheltering many of the migrants who had been here in the Bronx. The furniture store owner could be on the hook for some serious fines.
Fines. That's a slaps on the wrist, y'all. Some fines. I wonder if the fines are gonna be comparable to the amount that he siphoned from the scam. I mean, I doubt it will be.
Result of what he was doing here. We're live in South Richmond Hill this morning. Dan and Tashani, back to you.
All right, Robert, thank you. For the second time in 2 days, the NYPD has uncovered an illegal makeshift migrant shelter. Today's discovery in the Bronx follows yesterday's raid in Queens. It now brings the total number of migrants to more than 100, all housed in 2 separate commercial businesses.
You see, what happened was after they busted the building owner at the first location, they looked at the other properties he owned and said, hold up, let's do an inspection of your other properties as well.
Owned, investigators say, by the same man. News 4's Chris Jose live in Fordham tonight, where the eviction, we understand, is underway. Chris?
And Natalie, talk to some of the neighbors out here. They'll tell you this was no secret. Migrants often spotted coming and going every single day. Where the majority of them are going next and how soon, unclear tonight. NYPD tonight at a commercial business in the Fordham section of the Bronx. A vacate order in place. Migrants, officials say, were living illegally in the 2-story building on Kingsbridge Road, collecting their belongings. Building inspectors, along with the FDNY, discovering 44 beds crammed together in the cellar and first floor.
I just came out of the library and all I...
Migrants in the cellar like Anne Frank, y'all. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Hit the like button if you're new to the broadcast. Hit the Cash App or the PayPal if you support the mission. I'm really trying to give y'all the scoop when it comes to this African migrant crisis, because nowadays the U.S.-Mexican border is inundated by not Mexican illegals, but African and Asian illegals.
See as the police, flushing them out one by one, taking the stuff.
Inspectors also finding extension cords, e-bikes, space heaters, and hot plates on both floors. Inside, inspectors say there's a lack of natural light, ventilation, and severe overcrowding. Department of Buildings calling the conditions hazardous and life-threatening. How much was he charging them?
I think they said $300, some say $600.
This neighbor spoke to the
Some say 600. So those calculations that I did are off, y'all. Those calculations are on the lower side of things, up to $600 per month. Up to $600 per month. Come on, y'all. These scheming ass Africans. But he said he wasn't charging nobody, right?
the men every day, some of them living here for just 3 months. One migrant says he and 50 other roommates would shower at a gym across the street.
It wasn't safe down there.
No toilet, no baño, nothing.
No
you are here.
DOB issuing 2 violations to the landlord they say also operated an illegal migrant shelter at a furniture store in South Richmond Hill, Queens. Ibo Sar told us Tuesday he's just trying to help.
This is the situation. This is what we're trying to avoid, for them to be out there in this cold weather.
Migrants staying illegally at the Bronx business, loading their suitcases on a bus. Police and emergency management officials directing them to city-run shelters.
Damn, how do you participate in harboring illegals in a form of human trafficking, and you're able to paint it as an act from a good Samaritan, y'all? Peep the semantics.
One asylum seeker who did not want to be identified telling us he wants another option.
We need an apartment, but we have money for pay. We don't need a center. Go in the center is very difficult.
Some of the migrants here are choosing to go to a city-operated shelter tonight. Others really have no game plan. Right now, they're reaching out to friends here in New York City to see if they can crash for a few days. We're live in the Fordham section. Chris Jose, News 4 New York.
New York sanctuary city laws could change if Mayor Eric Adams has his way. Currently, the law states that migrants can only be deported if they're convicted of a crime. Mayor Adams says these laws need to be revised.
Come on, y'all. Right before this, we did a stream on Nature Boy. It took him 2 years from the day he was arrested to get a conviction. So when we say we're not going to deport these illegals unless they get convicted of a crime, when they do the crime, get out, no bail, and then it's years until they actually reach a conviction. Y'all, this is wild.
In the wake of recent incidents.
I don't believe people who are violent in our city and commit repeated crimes should have the privilege of being in our city. We should not be allowing people who are committing crimes to remain here, and we cannot collaborate with ICE in the process.
Joining us this morning to discuss the future of New York as a sanctuary city and to update us on the 72 migrants found living in a commercial basement in Queens is Brooklyn City Councilwoman Alexa Aviles, who also chairs the Immigration Committee. So good morning to you. Good morning. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
So we'll get to the sanctuary city laws in just a second. I want to begin with those asylum seekers that were found from Senegal in that basement in Queens. The mayor had said yesterday that all of them were moved out of there and placed into proper housing. Where is that housing?
That's a great question.
Why are you lying? Why are you lying, sir? If you already had the housing filled to max capacity to the point where these African scammers are starting their own dwellings in basements, then we don't believe you when you say you took all them out of the illegal basements and put them in proper shelters. Those shelters were full to begin with. Where did they go? Some of them said they went to the subways. Some of them said they slept on the cold streets.
The situation is so sad. I would love to know where the proper housing is. We have a situation where the system is quite simply broken. Folks have numbers on their bands of 30,000. They're waiting for a cot. They can wait for up to over a week on the sidewalk. We've seen this at the reticketing center. So I don't know. And I think, you know, that beautiful soul who wanted to help other people in a crisis.
Beautiful soul that wanted to help other people. He made hundreds of thousands of dollars doing the scam. What the fuck do you mean, beautiful soul that wanted to help people? He exploited his fellow Africans for a quick buck.
You know, I thank him for stepping up. New Yorkers are stepping up all over the city to help in the ways that they can, but the system is broken.
Yeah, I mean, some of our reporters spoke to some of those folks that were staying there who said they'd rather stay in those basements than what they're being offered by the city. I mean, clearly there needs to be some sort of revision. What do you think needs to take place specifically?
You know, I think I think when we have opportunities like this, right, where New Yorkers are trying to figure out how to use the resources they can, we should be spending our resources figuring out how to make an appropriate fit, right? Of course, safety is a huge issue. We want to make sure everyone is safe. But rather than just sending people to the subways and think we're doing a good job, we should really in earnest be figuring out how do we utilize all these underutilized spaces or places where New Yorkers are saying, hey, I can pitch in this way. What could we do to move forward to support, relief in the system currently?
Like that individual at the store, right?
Exactly.
So the question is, should there be a better tracking system after the 30 to 60 days? The city has kept saying that they are helping people move along on their journey, but some of those folks have.
Yeah, she's trying to get in on the cheap African slave labor or something. I don't know why she's trying to ride for this cause. I don't know why. This is not a good thing. New York is already packed to the brim. New York already has a housing crisis, and now you're going to throw a bunch of illegals in the mix?
Nowhere to go, and it is such a process to get back into the system to wait on those lines. So should there be a better tracking system, and what does that look like?
100%. I mean, I have to say the 30, 60-day rule is exactly counterproductive to what the whole system is supposed to be doing. The system is meant to stabilize, right? It should be stabilizing individuals on their pathway. Moving folks around the city every 30 days for families, for individuals, hugely destabilizing and chaotic and undermining the investments we're making. So let's say we are supporting work-first programs or English as a second language. Many people are doing that. They lose their papers, they lose their ID NYC, they are in a new neighborhood. It is deeply chaotic. So I have a real problem with this rule, and it's pushing people out of the system effectively onto the subways.
The mayor said yesterday also, he was talking about this change of the sanctuary city laws and how he would like to do that to work better with ICE and the NYPD, but he needs the city council to do it. Will the city council take that up as an issue to vote on?
I don't trust none of these folks. They knew this would happen. They allowed it to happen. It's two wings of the same bird. Every first world country is based off of slave-like labor, exploiting cheap underclass citizens, and we needed some new ones. We needed a new generation of slave-like laborers. So come on, Africans, come on, Asians, come on, South Americans. We got some work for you to do.
So absolutely not. New York City has had a long history of sanctuary. In fact, started in 1986. And every year, every administration, Republican and Democrat, has made sure to ensure that, to strengthen that system of sanctuary. Sanctuary keeps us all safe, right? It was meant and continues to be a way for the immigrant community to continue to work with civil society and civic organizations. So I would love the mayor to actually read up on the history of New York City and know that there is due process, and we are a country of due process and humanitarian agreements and response. And there is a process for the things. If we need the criminal legal system to respond, it will respond appropriately. But there is due process. You can't just skip over the court and decide because you're angry about something, you can just eliminate all those things.
Good Lord, good Lord. I wonder if she's an anchor baby herself. I wonder what her background, what her lineage is. I didn't know the Puerto Ricans was rocking with the Africans like that.
Just quickly before we let you go, do you know if the gentleman that housed those folks in that basement, is he facing any penalties?
It looks like possibly, which I think would be deeply unfortunate. I think we need to switch the conversation and say, okay, maybe.
It would be deeply unfortunate if this nigga running illegal African Airbnbs in multiple locations, if he got punished, that would be deeply unfortunate. Oh my God, y'all. Oh my God. Whoa.
You can't just skip over the court and decide because you're angry about something, you can just eliminate all those things.
Yeah. Just quickly before we let you go, do you know if the gentleman that housed those folks in that basement, is he facing any penalties?
It looks like possibly, which I think would be deeply unfortunate. I think we need to switch the conversation and say, okay, maybe in fact, this is probably not the best thing, but let's figure out work, and we shouldn't be criminalizing someone who's honestly trying to help. And he wasn't.
He's on it. We shouldn't criminalize someone honestly trying to help. Damn, y'all. When your landlord rents a space to you, is he honestly trying to help, or are you guys engaging in a business deal? I mean, why is she trying to act like this guy was doing it out of the kindness of his own heart when he was charging $2,400 deposits to sleep in a furniture store after hours illegally, unpermitted. What are we talking about? Oh Lord, she's lost in the sauce, y'all.
Fortunate. I think we need to switch the conversation and say, okay, maybe in fact this is probably not the best thing, but let's figure out how to make this work. And we shouldn't be criminalizing someone who's honestly trying to help. And he wasn't taking advantage of a system. He saw people in need from countries that are quite frankly being left out. And there's a huge language barrier, particularly for African migrants. Our city doesn't have enough and is not investing in that infrastructure. So I want to thank him and all the New Yorkers that help out in all the ways that they do.
Come on, y'all. Come on. Peep how they try to reframe the narrative. He's not a criminal. He wasn't engaging in criminal behavior. He was just a good Samaritan, a good New Yorker trying to do what he could do. Oh my God. Lord, this is crazy. This is crazy. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, don't go anywhere. As soon as this broadcast ends, there will be a 10-second countdown, and the next broadcast will begin automatically. Oh, Lord, let's get on into the next one. Let's go.